think we've all experienced that moment where we suddenly need to tap into our network. Maybe you got laid off or you're launching a new project, only to realize I haven't really kept in touch with anyone. It's that sinking feeling of, I should have been better at this. This is just one of the networking mistakes we're going to talk about today that could be killing your career. But don't worry, we're also going to talk about how to fix them. So let's get into it. Welcome to Creating Opportunities, the podcast for professionals who know that building relationships isn't just a soft skill, it's a career advantage. I'm Cassandra Thompson, and every week we talk about how to better connect in our work lives. Whether you're leading a team, landing a client, or frankly, just feel disconnected in your day-to-day, this podcast is here to help. So here's the thing, your network is not like a just nice to have. It is necessary for future career success, especially in a world that is so disconnected. It is really, really important to be the one who is still connected because frankly, it is what's going to set you apart. Most people are working remote or hybrid. We're not keeping in touch the way we should. And so if you are the one who has the network, we can create better opportunities for ourselves and for others. So that's the thing. Your network, those relationships are the difference between career stagnation and opportunity. And so the mistakes we make with networking aren't just like, oh, it's a social faux pas, I did something wrong. Literally, they are career limiters. Your career is being limited. So today we are going to talk about three main things. One, the biggest networking mistakes that might be holding you back. Two, how to network in a way that feels natural to you. Networking can come in a lot of different shapes and sizes. And then three, practical ways to keep those relationships alive in a way that doesn't feel weird or pushy. Something I know we are all scared of. So why do we even need to network? Before we get into the mistakes, let's talk about why we need to do it. Well, 70% of jobs are found through referrals, and 65% of all new business opportunities come from referrals as well, which means we need people. Y'all, these two stats show that people truly are the gateway to our future success. And yet, people jump straight to applying online or only running ads for their business or focusing on the marketing instead of just good old-fashioned relationship building. And I get it. I talk about this a lot. I think it's because those first activities are task-focused and they feel productive to cross them off a list compared to the murkiness of people, if you will. But networking is what can make you successful, and I swear it can actually be fun. But you have to stay away from some mistakes. So let's get into them. Mistake number one, we already talked about at the top, only reaching out when you need something. The best time to network is when you don't need anything at all. Because networking is relationship building, it's not just trading favors. If I had a friendship with someone where all we did was trade favors, that would be exhausting. So networking, same thing. You need to just be keeping in touch with people when you don't need anything so that when you do need something, they're there. So if you're in a job right now and you don't need anything, awesome. Start checking in with past coworkers from other jobs. Join the association. Go to the meeting. Meet people for coffee. Attend conferences. Follow up afterward. Like, do the bill so they're there when we need them. You have to think about it like planting seeds in a garden. You don't want to wait till you're hungry to start growing vegetables. You need to plant the seeds well in advance, nurture and water those seeds so that by the time you need them, they're there, right? We do the same thing with relationships. Plant the seeds, nurture those relationships, and then they're there when you need them. And let's remember, it's not all about us. You're there for them as well. We'll get to that point more in a second. And if you are watching this and you're going, dang it, I didn't do that, and now I'm on the job hunt, right? Maybe you were recently laid off. Don't panic. Start now. Start by just reaching out to someone today and asking them what's going on with them and hearing about them, or maybe asking them to a coffee or a Zoom chat. And then they will tell about themselves, and hopefully if they're not a monster, they'll say what's going on with you, and you can tell them the situation you're in, and they're probably going to be willing to help. But we need to start building the relationship now and doing a slow build instead of just coming straight into, I haven't talked to you in 2 years, but do you think you could refer me for that role at your company? We don't want to do that. The second major mistake when approaching networking is having a, well, what does this do for me kind of mindset? What do I get out of this? If you're constantly looking at how you can be getting something from it, on who can give value for you, who can give you a referral, who can oh, what will that get me? You're not spending enough time thinking about how you can care for others, and those relationships are going to fade away fast. Now, I'm not actually a big fan of the phrase give value because I think it's really heavy and weighted, and I talk about that a lot more in this episode here. Instead, I'm a fan of give care because we can all care for one another. That can be as simple as, hey, I thought of you today. How are you doing? I'd love to hear. So instead of taking the time to go, well, how can that person help me? Sometimes we don't know how people can help us right away, but we know that we can care for them. So start just sending some people unsolicited, hey, I thought of you today, messages. Start caring for them first, because this small gesture goes really far in keeping you top of mind and making people want to help you. Because remember, people like people who like them. It's just human nature. And of course, if there is a way you can see that you can give actual help, like there's a problem you can solve for them, or you see a resource you can send to them, those are ways of giving care too. Of course, do those, but don't try and force a way to give help that is not solicited. Don't give unsolicited help and advice. Again, I talk more about this in another episode. I will link it and I will put it here if you're watching on YouTube, and I will put it in the show notes below. Okay, mistake number 3 gets overlooked all the time, and it is not going with your natural networking style. Now, I think when people hear networking, they automatically picture some sort of ballroom and people passing cards back and forth, or a trade show floor and having a chat with people, and it's all trading business cards and it's large groups, and that might not be your thing. In fact, while it gives me energy to a point, it's not always my thing either. So you need to go with your networking style. Networking is relationship building. It is all about how you build the relationships. It's not a quantity game, it is a quality game. And so if you're an introvert, maybe, just FYI, side note on this, just because someone's introverted doesn't mean they don't like people or don't want to spend time with people. It's where you get your energy from. And so an introvert might not want to be at the large conference, but you might really enjoy getting a coffee to catch up with an old coworker that you haven't talked to. So have 5 of those. And maybe we don't do 5 in a week. Maybe we do 5 in a month so that there's downtime in between. Or it's more about nurturing the relationships through sending emails and messaging people. Totally. Or if you do have to go to a big event or something larger, maybe it's more of going to a workshop where it's structured, where okay, I'm going to go and I'm going to learn something, and I don't have to talk and walk up to strangers the whole time. I get to learn, and I have no problem turning and saying hi to the person next to me, and you'll meet people through that. Totally fine. Or if you're an extrovert and you want to be in front of people, then maybe we aren't sending tons of emails back and forth every day, but we too are asking people to coffees, or that spending the money on that one conference a year that costs a lot to be 4 days in rooms with people all day just fills your soul, and then you can work and build those relationships for the rest of the year. Do that. But point being, networking is not one size fits all. Choose what works for you. Okay, mistake number 4, going for the ask too early. I just had this happen with someone this week. Now, this kind of goes back to treating your network only in a what's in it for me kind of way. You need to also think about what's in it for them. And really, one of the things that happens a lot is people meeting and then going in for the ask way too early. I will be very honest, I see this with salespeople a lot. I think you're not playing the long game, and I think we need to play a bigger long game. So I've seen it happen, and it happened to me this week, where somebody who I met once, we haven't really talked a lot since, kind of made a big ask really fast. Now, part of it too is the way they did it, and that will have to be a whole other episode, but it was just too much too soon, and it was too big an ask for me. I tried to think about why does this bother me? Because there are other people who, if they made the exact same ask, I would be totally fine. I would go, oh my gosh, yes, let me help you. And I realized it's because they made that ask too early. We do not have a relationship yet. If we had a relationship, if they had messaged me a couple of times and I had messaged them, or maybe we got a coffee and I heard more about their business, their ask would now be me helping a friend and going, oh my gosh, I'd love to help you out, sure. But because we have no relationship, it felt like taking advantage and, hey, I want to get something for free. So you need to really think about, have I done enough to earn this ask? And here's the thing, every now and then you will have to make an ask early, but I think you should acknowledge it. I fully told someone before, I sent an email to someone and said, I had to apologize. In fact, I think I've shared this before somewhere, but I had to apologize for something. Like something kind of happened with our relationship and I said, this is me falling on my sword. I made a mistake. I'm really sorry. And I said, and also horrible timing, but you know how this industry works because it was in television. Things move fast. And I said, I am looking for a contact here and I think you know someone. It is totally wrong of me to ask this, but if you wouldn't mind helping me out, I'd greatly appreciate it. And the person did it. I think there was something to the fact that I acknowledged, I am going about this all wrong. This is not the way to do it. Helps a lot if you have to make an ask early. Also, if 2 years ago now, I was on LinkedIn Live's career show with their editor-in-chief of careers, Andrew Seaman, and I believe it was on camera in the video, if I'll link it. He brought up how he had to make an ask too soon for someone who said, you should spend a year getting to know them before you ever ask anything. And he needed a favor from the person. He said, I know it hasn't been a year. I'm calling it in early. I'm so sorry, but here's why. So I think sometimes we forget honesty is the best policy. It doesn't have to be full honesty, full vulnerability, but there is something to acknowledging it. So try really hard to not make an ask too early. And this goes back to what I was saying with those of you who might be laid off right now, or you're unemployed and looking for your next role, and you're going, oh my gosh, I haven't built my network yet. There might be a couple of people you're gonna have to fall on your sword and ask for something early, but everyone else, take a month or two to build that relationship first, a little bit, before we come in with any ask. Coming from dead in the water to, can you help me with this, is something we don't want to do often. So how do we put networking into practice so that we don't make these mistakes? Here's my approach to networking that actually works. You need to be intentional and authentic. And intentional means we got to schedule this on our calendar. If we don't want to be the person who lets our network drop off, we got to start scheduling this. So put that time on your calendar and then do it in a way that's authentic to you. So like I said, if you're an introvert and you would rather send a couple of emails each day, keeping in touch with your network, and maybe do one coffee chat a month, fine, go for that. If you're an extrovert, honestly, you might know that will actually motivate you to get more done too. Maybe you should still be sending emails as well, or text messages, etc. But maybe that's putting one coffee a week on your calendar, like you have a standing coffee appointment. Great, go for it. But either way, block off time for networking. And I literally block this on my calendar, and if networking feels like too icky a word, I totally get it. On mine, it just says peopling. I know what goes on during my peopling hour or half hour. And then if you're a job seeker, here's my big challenge to you. Instead of sending out 5 applications today, send out 5 emails from your past to people who you think could help you, and get a coffee or ask them for a Zoom chat to catch up. Start building that practice now of getting those relationships together. I promise you something is going to come from those that would not have come from the just sending applications into the ether. The next thing you can do to help with networking and keeping it consistent and keeping in touch is my see something, say something method. My favorite thing is when I see something that reminds me of someone, I message them. This is the easiest way to network in the world because it's totally organic. You see something that reminds you of someone, you say something. You don't have to sit there and go, oh, but it's not 5 o'clock on Friday when I do these. Who networks at 5 o'clock on Friday? I don't know, but that was the number I chose. But you don't have to wait for that time slot. It doesn't take tons of time and thought. You already had the thought. Now we just have to execute on it by saying something. So go ahead and start using the see something, say something method. And then last thing for you, follow up consistently. Don't watch this, send a few emails, and then drop off again, right? You need to start following up with people. After you meet someone new, follow up within 48 hours, letting them know it was nice to meet them, but don't stop there. Create a simple system to check in periodically. For me, I use my relationship runway. It's something I do teach companies and teams, employee resource groups, etc. You might have your own system, but you want to create a way to stay in touch. Now, where I see people struggle with this whole thing is a quick break to thank the sponsor of today's episode, and that would be me. If you are planning an event and want a speaker who makes networking feel human again, I would love to be there. I'm known for making people laugh and take notes because everything I teach is always action driven. And in my keynotes and workshops, I help people go beyond small talk and business card swaps so they can build real relationships with coworkers and clients and everyone in between. So head to cassthompson.com/speaker, click on my link to book a call, and let's chat. I would love to make your next event a success. Overthinking it. You sit down for that peopling hour and you go, oh, I don't know, who should I keep in touch with today? Is this person the most strategic? Is that the most strategic? Just pick somebody in your network and send them an email or a message. And then we also overthink, am I sounding too eager? Or what's the perfect thing to say? But here's the thing, authentic connection isn't perfect, it's human. It might be a little wonky. That's totally fine. That also shows it's not ChatGPT who wrote everything for you. So don't worry about how long it's been, if it's too soon, if it's been too long, just send a message. Who doesn't want to be cared for? Who doesn't want to know someone thought of them today? Send the message. And if you need help with that, I actually have my connection messages guide, totally free. I will put it in the description below so you can get your hands on that as well. And it gives you all different sorts of circumstances for following up and saying, hey, it was great meeting you. So to recap what we covered today, the biggest networking mistakes are reaching out only when you need something, making it all about you, not going with your natural networking style, and going for the ask too early. So remember, effective networking isn't about collecting a bunch of contacts on LinkedIn or getting a bunch of business cards. It's about building real relationships that create mutual opportunities over time. Seriously, the one thing I want you to take away from today is that networking is relationship building. It is not one and done. It is not transactional. When you approach it from a place of genuine care and connection, the opportunities will follow naturally. So if this resonated with you today, I would love for you to share it with a friend who also needs to hear this message. In fact, that can be one of the things you do. Hey, we've talked about how we both dislike networking. I saw this video. I heard this episode, thought you might enjoy it. Great. And please remember, skills matter, but relationships open doors. Thank you for tuning into the Creating Opportunities podcast. If you found this valuable, please hit subscribe wherever you're listening, and it would really help us out if you leave a quick review on Spotify or Apple Podcasts. And if you are watching this on YouTube, hi to my YouTube folks, please like and comment below. I do read every one, and it's small things like that that make a big difference in getting this show out there to more people who want to have better relationships in their work lives. So thank you for that, and I'll see you in the next one.